Alright, we just finished the deathmatch, in which I mentioned that this week was the week that Phase 3 turned up in the UK, or at least turned up on my doorstep in the UK. So I thought we may as well do an unboxing of Phase 3. Now, this is probably the minimalist's take, I guess. Well, I say minimalists as if everyone ever is in this Shadows of Brimstone hobby. Take on Phase 3. I didn't get any of the dice, which are also turning up in Phase 3, because I figure a D6 is a D6. They may look pretty, but I would like more miniatures, please. Anyway, so this is fairly minimalist. This is the all the various different enemies that were in Phase 3. If you look at the bottom here is the Feudal Village that was Phase 3, and the card supplements that are at the top there from Phase 3. And I worked my way down in possibly order of excitement, going from the top down. So this was it. I'd say it's quite a bit. You've got a bunch of card packs at the top. You then have, here we go, we've got the Takobake Samurai. You've then got the Oni Warlord with inherent difficulty, which we'll come to in a moment, which we know before we even open that. That's another double XL for the death matches. And then another double XL for death matches, even bigger, is this one, Kuro, the big skeletal fella. And then the last one, as I say there, Feudal Village, the equivalent of the frontier town. So we'll start at the top, which is basically the card packs. When they did the Forbidden Fortress Kickstarter way back when, there was effectively 3 extra Forbidden Fortress card pack expansions that were wave 3 only, and that is the extra encounters called Ghostly Haunts for the Forest of the Dead. There's the image of them, Ghostly Haunts. The Forest of the Dead extra artifacts. Oops. There we go. And the Forbidden Fortress item upgrades. Pack number 1. No, there's pack number 2 yet, but there's pack number 1, item upgrades. So it's I mean, those are fairly self-explanatory. Those are just more artifacts for the Forest of Dead, encounters for the Forest of Dead. If you open these ones up though, they're a little bit different, I assume. Well, we haven't opened them yet, but that's like, oh, look at that, an unwrapping. There we go, done. That wasn't that an easy unwrapping. And there we go, they're all gear cards. So they're all gear cards to add to Forbidden Fortress, presumably just slot straight into the existing Forbidden Fortress gear deck. And those two are the appropriate World decks. There was also, in terms of card packs, put them to one side, the promo pack, which I think if you bought anything pretty much from Phase 3, I think in the Kickstarter, you've got this promo pack. Inside, let's see what we get. So we've got a epic threat for basically the Fallen Shogun and some of the Takobake Samurai that just turned up. We have a new pair of new artifacts for Forbidden Fortress, and a pair of, it's another Honourable Frog. I already have quite a few of those, but yeah, another Honourable Frog. A pair of gear cards for Forbidden Fortress as well, all to be added into their appropriate decks. So there you go, that was the easy stuff. That's the cards done. Next one, let's have a look at the Takobake Samurai. What's going to be in here? Okay, I'm going to go mystic on this and guess. I don't have to guess too much. Actually, probably on the back, but there'll be the 6 Takobake models. I should get somebody to cut this with. That'll be sensible. As we say, the 6 Takobake models, and then a bunch of fret cards to use them. I can look on the back. I just saw on the back. Oh, you even get more stuff than that. Anyway, let's get the shrink wrap off the plane of my wrappings. There we go. That's gone. Is this the new style box? It is the new style box. So we'll just snip there through the sellotape that's keeping it shut, he says. Off we come. There we go. And then when we pop it up, you've got those side reinforcers to keep the box from crush damage. inside, first thing out, there you go, there is your enemy sheet, what you need to insert it into your Forbidden Fortress games for these Takobake Samurai. I'll do a quick look and go, yeah, Takobake, they've got armour, they've got regeneration, they basically do stuff. They apparently have some samurai battle tactics, particular for them. But I'm not going to read it too much because I don't like to spoil myself for the game. But there you go, that's what you're getting there. Also, you know, I presume the frogs wouldn't particularly want me blabbing the entire rules for it just out the back. You've then got your enemy little pack little sheet like this, with your blurb on the front describing the Takobake. Deadliest and most ruthless warriors from the clan, apparently. And then it explains the things you get in it. So there you go, it explains the things you get in it. So it's talking about getting a new enemy, new threat cards, new battle tactics specific for them, and there's a new mission here. A new mission, a Takobake Samurai specific mission, and then on the back, how to put them together. They are recommending clippers and plastic cement. Well, yeah. So that's that. And then, reaching into the box now empty, we have card packs, which we'll just open to check, but should be whatever the Takobake Samurai battle tactics are. There you go, same kind of look as the battle tactics, but they are obviously for enemies rather than the hero samurai. So you've got your Takobake Samurai battle tactics, which presumably they'll have when they come into play. And then you've got, looks like, there you go, you've got 2 low, 2 medium, 2 high, and an epic. Oh, which is basically Takobake plus a load, samurai plus a load of other stuff. So those slot into your threat decks from Fofo. Keep those separate for their own sort of, section in your cards. There we go, and there you go. These are the models. If I can get into them easily, I'll show you what the sprues look like. Yeah, I'm not sure why that is glued when it's heat sealed anyway. Time for the scissors. Okay, here we go. Obviously, large bases actually, I say obviously, but large bases. There's only 3 models in here. I thought there might be 6, but no, there's 3 because they're large. So yeah, 3 large 40mm bases, kind of flying forth bases there. And put those down, so just leave you 1 sprue, which if I hopefully bring up the camera you can have a look at. There you go, that is your sprue. So there is big body fella here, and you've got all of those different pieces like the sort of armour task that's up there, the head, the sort of tentacle arm with a sword, and the sort of sheaves and a back banner. So these are single pose only, and there doesn't look like there's any variation in them. There's no modability out the box. They are all exactly the same pose, which is kind of the 2 tentacles coming in front of them to grab the sword in an upright position. So yeah, that's those. That is the Takobake Samurai. A bit of a melee threat for your Fofo games. Hopefully they're quite tanky. We shall see when we actually get around to playing with them. Put those over to one side. Get rid of that box. Put the bases with them. Next up is the Oni Warlord. Now, as I say, we know there's a difficulty with this. We know there's a problem because the frogs put it on their video. There was a decision in manufacturing that was made, and it turned out to not be great. And they owned up to it and said, really sorry, too late now. And it revolves around, and it's, I don't know if people can sort of figure this out before I get to it, but this is the Oni Warlord. This is a double XL size model, and like most double XL size models, it has a large enemy sheet. For comparison, because we just did a death match, if I reach over here, I've got, there you go, there's Belial. There's Belial, large enemy sheet. There's the Oni Warlord box. Oh, put that behind. Like that. That's now level at the bottom, and you can see the problem. Oh well, never mind. We'll see how bad it is when we open it up. When we get to an end, we can open. So yeah, there's only going to be the one model in this. I think there was an option, if you wanted to in phase 3, you could buy 3 of these, because I think they're like different colours, different colour Oni. In the same way you could have bought like a load of, just stabbing myself, a load of different, for the different elemental dragons, you could have bought a different Oni from wherever they come from, Oni land. There we go, and we're in. Again, the flappy sides of avoiding crush damage. And yeah, here we go, first thing that comes out. There we go. That's a bit disappointing, isn't it? There is your Oni Warlord, the large enemy sheet, but rounded. So we're going to try putting that under some heavy books for a few days, see if that works, to flatten it out. If that doesn't work, we might try ironing it. In case anyone tries that, by the way, if you want to iron something like this, like paper, like this thin card, to straighten up, it will work. Do not put your iron directly onto the card. That's a good way to ruin it. So what you do is you put something like a muslin cloth or something, which, you know, those of you who've had recent kids will have one of those, otherwise people are probably going, what the hell is muslin cloth? But yeah, it's something like that, or a towel, either side of it to protect it. And then when you iron it, you very gently iron it, make sure you're not getting it too damp, because what you're trying to do is transfer the heat to it to soften it up a bit with an ever so slight amount of water, ever so slight, hardly any. But yeah, hopefully the really heavy books method will work first before we have to resort to the more chancy method. But there you go, that's the sheet. We'll have to do something about that. Not the end of the world, you can still read it. So there we go. Inside, here we go, here is your spiel about the Oni Warlord. Similarly again, there's a little bit of bump about who they are, where they come from. This is a little thicker book, because it starts going on about a whole bunch of stuff we're going to look at in a moment. It starts talking about double XL enemies, being bad for level one parties. They are. You've then got basically talking about Oni enemies. In case you haven't got Fofo, there's the enemy sheet for an Oni, which comes with the Oni Warlord. I'm not sure why you'd have the Oni Warlord without the main Fofo box, but who knows. You've then got 2 missions. You've got Overthrow and Keep It Up. And I have absolutely no idea what that thing is on the last page. On the last page, I guess there may be special rules for the different Oni doing different things. There's like 4 of them, 4 different rules. And then at the back you've got how to put them together. Again, I believe there's only one pose for this, but you've only got the one, so it shouldn't really need too much by variability. Oh, we have some tokens. So it looks like they've given you Oni tokens to represent Oni enemies if you haven't got the original Forbidden Fortress box, or perhaps because, you know, also it looks like they've got 5 here. Forbidden Fortress comes with only 3, so if this spits out more for whatever reasons, it's like summons Onis or whatever, you will need some extra ones here. And 4 tokens of Oni death relics, whatever they are. We'll pop those out later. Next up is, oh, there we go, nearly lost it. The extra large, very large 90mm base. Put that again to one side. There we go, quite a fat card brick comes with this. Oh, I can see on the back of this Shadow Magic, so there's more Shadow Magic to go in the Shadow Magic deck as used by Belial. Maybe the Oni Warlords use Shadow Magic too, would seem appropriate. Is there actually any more in it? Yes, there we go. There's again. There you go. There's 4 more Shadow Magic cards. There we go. 4 more Shadow Magic cards got in that deck. As it happens to be here, because I've just done a fight below, we'll put those in straight away. There was also legendary Oni Warlord. We would assume there are 3 different types of Oni Warlord, or it could be a legendary Oni Warlord. So there's 3 of those to choose from. The 4 Oni Death Relics each have a card, so presumably you do something different. You've got 2 different adventure cards like that. Oops, sorry, adventure cards like that. Which of those of you are familiar with adventures? Flip them over that side. They tell you how to modify the standard game in a variety of different ways to make it a whatever it is adventure. In this case, an Oni Castle or a Nobu slave mine mission. Again, I'm going to keep myself unspoiled as much as I can until they turn up in play. So let's put those there. World cards. Why have we got 4 world cards? What are these? Okay, well that's interesting. Again, not going to be the rules, but I'll just quickly fan them out. They are 4 new otherworlds, but they're using existing otherworlds that you may have. There's a Deep Forest from the Forest of the Dead, a Island Castle from the Forbidden Fortress, Dark Swamp, the Swamps of Jagano, and Fire Caves from the Caverns of Cinder. So they're modified, it looks like, to the existing otherworlds you may have, to create different otherworlds with those map tiles and so on. Interesting. I like that. That's nice. That's taking some of the existing content we already have and putting a new way to use it and making it, you know, fresh again for people. Really interesting. That I like that. I'll have to see how they work out. And there's some mining counters for the Oni. Mining counters for the Oni. They're from Forbidden Fortress. Interesting. We'll have to see when those crop up. Are they? And I bet, yeah, I flip them over and I can see. Yeah, that kind of makes complete sense, because one of these missions here we saw was the Nobu slave mine. Someone gives it away, slave mine. These encounters are going to be specific for that mission. So again, interesting, using the Oni Warlord with the other base sets, not Forbidden Fortress, but using the City of Ancients and Swamps of Death base sets, or I suppose any of the other worlds that have the mines as their flip side of the bat, where Forbidden Fortress normally would be, having mines. Interesting, mixing it between the 2 sort of base sets there. You've then got a bunch of Forbidden Fortress encounters, which I bet, if I just quickly flip them over, yep, they are the Oni Castle encounters for use when you're using the Oni Castle mission. Don't put these ones and these ones into your normal encounters deck. Keep them separate. Just make sure they're all like that. Yeah, they are all like that. Keep them separate, because they only come with those. Let's go some Oni traits. Much like many of the enemies nowadays, they will have various different variants on each of them. Like, you pull it when you get it and you'll see what kind of Oni you're getting. There's various different colours, which explains why you have the various different Oni Warlord model 3 packs or 4 packs or whatever they were. And there's your threats. There's only 3 epic threats. Apparently the Oni Warlord is only an epic threat. So yeah, that's the card pack. I realised I just stacked it all on top of the box when I want to reach in the box and get out the model itself. Again, not sure why it's glued shut when it's also heat sealed. Maybe it's a QA check thing. Anyway, there's only 2 sprues in this. Only 2 sprues. But boy, is this looking complicated. So, right, well, this is a bit of detail I hadn't actually spotted on all of the videos so far with this. Right, so the box, that big box thing, the Oni has got on its shoulder and is carrying, it was just a box to me. I didn't really understand what it was. Now that I've opened these up and I've seen some as well, I get it. I totally get it right now. So I don't know if you're going to see this, if you can pick this out, but if I bring this right up close as I can to the camera, these are the sides of the box, and you can see some of them have got like heads in them and arms coming out of them. There's also down here, can you see that? There's like 5 different arms, which also go into the box sides. So the box is a box full of captive people. Well, isn't that just pleasant and uplifting? There you go. But yeah, I couldn't see that on the various various videos and pictures I've seen of the Oni Warlords until now. Interesting facet. But yeah, this is those are the box size. Those are the arms coming out of it. There's the box top. So I'll move it across so you can see it. There's the box top. The Oni's legs at the bottom there in 2 parts. Chains and tattered stuff to go off it. So that's that one sprue. And then you've got another sprue which is is most of the Oni, who is going to be a big fella. He's going to be, I don't know, looks to be probably just short of a foot tall. Maybe a foot when you've got the box on him. Nah, maybe not quite. 9 inches, maybe 9 inches. Anyway, so yeah, this is the other sprue. As you can see, you've got the 2 bits of the body and some bits of arms, the head, big ass pokey stick of some description, some feet, and the bottom of the box of people. So those are 2 sprues you get in there. Again, as we've been saying, I think the level of sculpt quality is getting better. The Forbidden Fortress ones generally seem to have a lot more detail on them. I'm sometimes not convinced about their sprue attachment places, but I haven't seen anything totally ridiculous so far. I'm looking at the Tradaran air hoses when I say that, which anyone who's tried to get the Tradaran veterans out of their sprues without snapping their air hoses, if you've managed it on both of them, well, congratulations, you're a better person than I am. Yeah, Tradaran air hoses and sprue attachment points, what a daft idea that was. Anyway, that's the Oni Warlord. Another big lad for the XL, double XL, XL fights. Get these cards out of the way. Put them over there. Take the box out. Oh, that's quite thick. I just picked it up and went, the sides of this are really quite thick. They really did not want this getting damaged in transit. Moving over to the next one. Over to Kuro. Another double XL. This one you will note. If I just get the enemy sheet. Look at that. Enemy sheet fits in this one, so there's no issue with this one. Never mind. Right, let's open up over to Kuro. So I think if you go by total size of actual enemy that is represented, Oda Kuro is the largest so far, only because it's cheating and probably by the looks of it 2/3 of Oda Kuro are buried in the ground, which does beg the question how it moves around. Or is it just, I suppose it could just be the top part of the torso, the head and the shoulders and arms dragging itself along. Maybe that's what it's doing. Oh, we'll have a look when we open the model up, see which way it is. So, here we go, let's get this one open. Trying not to stab ourselves again. I mean, there's believing for your art, but I don't really think I need to do it. Again, there we go, you can see the other box sides. I really don't want this in double thick card, I really do not this one getting damaged. Out we come, the first thing we grab hold of, which I'll put to one side, is the sprues. Go. There we go, there's Oda Kuro. Double XL size, very large size sheets. There we go, I've got them all out so I can get the box away. There we go, Oda Kuro. Double sided, double size, enemy sheet. Look at that text, look at that. I think that is about the limit of the font size they can go down to. So this guy's got a load of rules by the looks of it. And wires. Oh, good grief, I just realised there's, this has got a diagram there, which is massive reach, so he's got like a huge area of attack, like this. And then this side cheats and just says see the other side, because there's not enough space there. Good grief, this fella's got way too much text. Also, I know, I'm not going to get in too much into it, because I don't want to ruin it for myself when I do the death matches. But I know it's also, we're not even talking 3x3 anymore. There's 3x4. The Odakuro is a 3 squares by 4 squares base sized model. There's map tiles that are smaller than that. Oh well, all bells well good for the Tajaran tank, doesn't it? Tajaran tank 4x4 or something stupid when it comes out. At this rate, and this is something I thought, they're going to have to make multi-part map tiles just to fit all these enemies on. So you're going to pop out 2 and put them together. There's massive fault, massive jigsaw in the middle there. Put them down. Otherwise, some of these models they're just not going to make conceptual sense to have on a map. Anyway, enough of that ramble. So as before, you've then got your book with a little bit of a story about Odakuro, where he fits in the lore. This is only a single fold. There's not like the Warlord, which had multiple pages. Single fold. Then I'm talking about his reach, special rules about double XLs, and then there is a single mission using Odakuro. And then on the back, how to assemble your Odakuro. Actually looks, for all that it's a much bigger model, look at that. It is very few steps. Might not be too bad a model to put together. It looks like they might be larger pieces in the sprues, so not too bad. Card pack, very light card pack in comparison to the Oni Warlord. I think there's only going to be frets in here by the feel of it. So open it up and have a look. Yeah, you've got 4 epic frets using Odakuro. There we go, so 4 epic frets with Odakuro put to one side. Let's have a look at the sprues themselves. Okay, they are quite big sprues, and this is not illuminating me too much, but I think we've solved the mystery. I think there is nothing below the ground. Oh no, maybe. Who knows? Maybe there might be. Not giving it away. The base, there's the base, which is the actual base itself. You don't get a round base for Odakuro, you just get this set piece, bit of plastic there. If you have a look at it, huge sort of rubble strewn, sort of rocky ground, which they're on top of. You've then got various, I can't really go too much beyond bits of bone that make up Odakuro, really. I can hold it closer so you can have a look at them. I don't think you'll be any more illuminated than my description. Just various bits of bone on the model, like that. Oops, sorry. On that sprue, and then this sprue, head and rib cage is what it looks like. I mean, this is not particularly going to be rocket science to any died in the wool wargamer. This is a very large skeleton, so you have all your sort of skeleton bits that all go together. There you go, that's Odakuro. If you had to tell me which of the two, based on what I've seen so far, I'm most interested in seeing in a death match, I must admit, I think I'll go with the Oni Warlord. I think the Oni Warlord looks more interesting of the two. But it'll be interesting, but still be interesting to fight side with them, and we'll get through them all eventually. Right, so those are the enemies. We've done card packs, we've done enemies. There's one last thing. I say one last thing. This is probably going to take the longest to do an unboxing of the Feudal Village. Now, to a certain extent, enemies are nice, enemies are great. everyone loves fighting new enemies, new different flavours, saying you've beaten a Kuro or whoever. Big kudos points to your group. Card packs like the extra expansions, again, nice. They're nice to have. They do improve the game, and they make, you know, give it a bit of variance and a bit of change to your games. But I'm expecting, if it's anything like the old Shadows of Brimstone, this is not a nice to have. It's not necessarily, I would say, a absolute must. We've been playing Forbidden Fortress for what, nearly 2 years now without it. But certainly the Frontier Town was a significant change to the base game and really improved an area that didn't get much love in the base set, which is the town experience. And Forbidden Fortress has been suffering in that the Shadows of Brimstone, the two original ones, have a much better town experience because of Frontier Town, whereas Fofo was a bit, well, yeah, you go, same six, do the same things, not much variation, not much extra things to do, not much extra challenges or difficulties or situations you get. It was just in, out, done. So let's see what this is going to give us. The Forbidden Fortress Feudal Expansion. It feels pretty weighty too, so I might spend as long talking about this as I have all the other ones. So let's just get this shrink wrap off. So I realise I'm doing this off camera. I'm trying not to open my fingers up. There we go. Shrink wrap off. So let's open it up. I'm sure there's a bunch of people who are wishing they could virtually smell all that new card smell you get when you open a box. There you go, can you smell it? The smell of new card games in the morning. Alright. Unsurprisingly, there's an adventure book for the Feudal Village, which I'm going to open, and I'm going to assume, I might be wildly wrong, but I'm assuming it's going to follow a similar format to the Frontier Town. So, okay, so overview about what this is about, and then some special tokens they use. Unwanted attention, looks like makes a return, same from Frontier Town. Bunch of new side bag tokens. I can see already we're looking at buildings, different buildings to use, and then also going to the small, medium and large village format that Frontier Towns has. Speciality villages, same as Frontier Town, different kinds of villages that do different things and change what you can do in the village. Randomised roles there for it. Daily event deck, yeah, same as Frontier Town, you've got a daily event deck each time. Unwanted attention, speciality villages. Demolished, yeah, sorry, Dishonored. Okay, Dishonored, that's something new. We'll read about that later, but that's a new mechanic, a bit like Wanted, I assume. And then we're talking Darkstone Pachinko. That looks like a game, like the Devil's Dice you had in Frontier Town. Looks like a new game like that. Feudal Bandits, presumably the same as the Frontier Town, just vanilla bandits. And talking about the adventure board, look at that, there you go, there's a picture of it. I'm going to come to it in here, I assume, in a few moments. So special rules for town, things like rooftops, which again, looking through doors and windows, which are, again, I would assume very similar to Frontier Town once I actually get to read through them. Always good fun to boot an enemy off a rooftop. And then talking about enemy areas where they come in from. Then new missions, 6 new missions. 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. There you go, 6 new missions. Expanded travel chart, travel hazard chart. Yeah, again, very limited travel hazard chart in the main rule books for Fofo. This one turning it into basically D36. And then some FAQs at the back. Oh, there's a Harryanago. What is a Harryanago there? Maybe there's a change to Harryanago steps. Painting guide for the bandits. And then on the back, that's interesting, look at that. That is almost That is almost every side token. Almost. There's a few that aren't, but there's almost every side token there on the back. Very useful. There we go. So that's the rule book. You get in it. Put that to one side. Look at this. Tokens. So unwanted attention coming back from famous other Frontier towns. Sidebag tokens, new kinds of sake by the look of it. Special tokens, don't know what they're for, might just be extra bonus stuff that folks give out. Villagers, samurai, baskets of stuff. Now, if it's anything like, again, Frontier Town, there are specific missions that require random villagers to get in the way, that require loot bags and things. You've got a north counter, maybe some of them require telling you which way is directional, don't know. Special sort of damage tokens I saw from some of the rules, some kind of damage token like Hellfire or Fire or what have you. So that's that one. That's one done. Next one, second sheet. 12 locations. Replace the existing 6. The existing 6 are in here 6, but there's also another new 6. And these basically get randomised for each village to give you a different selection of places to go and different things to do. Also, a whole new bunch of side tokens. Yeah, more and more side tokens. So those are the cards you're going to get out of it. Okay, this shiny thing here, I suspect, I'll take it out. Not sure how I'm going to get this all on camera at once, but this is a game board. If you see, there we go, it is 6 squares of the basically of just shorter than the Feudal Village box, and this is the Feudal Village, and it's needed for some of those missions. You need it to take place and do the fights on this board. People get on the rooftops of these buildings. I don't know what they are just yet because I've not read the rules, but you can see that it's very much a feudal Japan style village. Quite detailed, very, very shiny, very, very slick. Don't want to get it damaged. But yeah, nice basically gaming board for when you do your Feudal Village missions, which I'm now going to try and very carefully fold back up again. Like that. What else have we got in here? There's a big white box which rattles, so it's probably, yeah, there it is. It's our models, so I'll put them aside for a moment. So there we go. Feudal Bandits, enemy sheet, both sides as usual, bunch of stats. The never too wells of a Japanese village. You've also got in here same size as the enemy sheets, he says confidently. Yeah, same size as the enemy sheets. You have the special villages. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Looks like you've got 8 of them. So on one side they have the name of the special village, in this case a outlaw haven. It has some general all the time special rules for when you're in that town, and then on the back it has the daily events that replace the sort of do nothing placeholder daily event, and some extra options of when you go shopping or moving locations, things you can do there. As I said, there's 8 very different ones that all have special different rules and be flavoursome in different ways. So 8 new villages to go and have a look at. The larger cards, I'll just get out now, just make sure, I think that'll be everything that's in the box, we'll come to that in a moment, but effectively replacing the larger cards from the base Fofo game. You've got what you do when you go to the campsite rather than the hotel. There's the new rules, including this pachinko game on the other side of that one there. Things like unwanted attention, what happens with that. The new basically travel rules, plus what type of village type, plus the depth chart for the village if you have to do a mission in the village. And then on the back you have a village that only has 4 slots, or a village that has 6 slots, or a village that has 8 slots, depending on how big a village you wanted to go. And then for the 6 new town locations or village locations, you have 6 new location cards with the location event chart on one side plus any small bits of text at the bottom, and then the meat of the text as to what goes on in that location on the other side. All of which adding again diversity to your villages. There we go, so those are the larger cards. Again, just because I'm not going to let it lie, I'm going to keep ribbing about it. You will note the box is big enough for the larger cards to go inside without bending. I don't think they'll make that mistake again. Just checking there's nothing underneath. No, nothing underneath. So I can put that to one side. Card brick. There you go. It's pretty meaty card brick. We're in sort of heat shrink wrapper rather than plastic bag, so we know it's got a serious number of cards in. We'll just snip away at it to get in. There we go. So, bit of new rules cards for the new side bag tokens. There you go, new rule cards for side bag tokens. Dishonored, which I guess is a bit like Wanted in the old one. Here's your green. Wow, it's quite a lot of them. There we go. Those are your daily events. Whenever you have a day in your village, you pick one of these and see what happens. You may have got some earlier I certainly did in phase 1, I want to say, which you couldn't use until you've now got this pack and the rest of the village, but now you can add them into this deck. Every time you're in a village, draw one of those for each day you're in the village. We've got some threat cards then, so just low, medium and high for your village bandits. 3 of each. 3 of each. 3 of each. Oh, there's a trait card for the Harry and Argo. Okay, looks like there's a special Harry and Argo. There you go, trait card for the Harry and Argo. I don't know what that's about. Some new gear cards to go in your Fofo gear deck. 5 of them. 5 Fofo gears. Probably, I flipped them over and knew exactly what they were going to be. They're adding the new side bag tokens to that gear deck. And then last, again very similar to the Frontier Town, you've got some infamous feudal bandit gangs. So they could just be normal bandits, or they could be a member of the infamous bandit gang of feudal bandits, which basically make them tougher. Right, so there you go, that's the cards. Last thing to look at inside. Here we go. Snip it open. Is the actual models of the bandits themselves. Alright, so 12? Yeah, 12 of your standard sort of little bases. What are they, 30mm? There's going to be 12 models. There's 3 sprues, so 2, let's think that, hang on, so 12, 3 sprues, 4 each, 4 models on each. A quick look reveals, I'm just having a look, on each one there is indeed 4, but it looks like there's 3 different poses. No, 4 different poses. Each one's a different pose, although 2 of the torsos are very similar. Anyway, I'm looking at it myself, not showing you. Bad etiquette. So if you look at this, you've got 2 down here which appear to be the same sort of torso pose, which have the sort of swords up here, but one's got a sword like that, and the other one's got one like that. Not sure what's going on there. Presumably, if we looked at the back of the how to construct them, it says, but there's definitely, it looks like there's 2 different poses for those. And then these 2 up here, if I spin them around, so these 2 down here, 2 very different poses. One with that sort of casual sword over the back of the shoulders, and one there, the sword out and pointing down to the right. and they've got 4 different heads, which look reasonably interchangeable, I must admit. So you could mix and match your heads. Maybe they look pretty interchangeable. But yeah, there's your heads up there. Again, I'm just having a look. Any annoying inconvenient sprues on this? Some of the hand placements down here, like that one there, might be a bit of a inconvenient sprue, but never mind. Well, you do your best. So yeah, three sets of that sprue for 12 bandits in total, in what looks like 4 different basic poses with possible head swaps. And that is it. That is the total of your Feudal Village. Actually, there's actually quite a bit of content inside the Feudal Village, and it really does add to the game, particularly in that going to the village / town part of the game. At the moment, I'm not actually playing any games, but COVID restrictions are about to start getting lifted. Maybe I'll start getting people around to the house once again, so maybe soon we'll see some of these in action in a real game. But in the meantime, those XXL enemies, they'll be turning up in the death matches. But anyway, yeah, that's the unboxing of Phase 3. I hope that's of help to someone.